Animation Studios Library, the show where I constantly forget the name of the podcast, despite the fact that we've been doing it for 48 episodes. I am Jeff, the guy who doesn't remember literally anything, unless it's written down. And there's TC, the man who knows literally everything, whether it's written down or not. Yes.
See,
Hello, TC.
Hi, Jeff. I have no tattoos, and you look like the dude from Memento.
I have so many tattoos that I am just a solid color at this point. So it's pretty bad. That's how much I forget.
Oh, there you go. Well, good.
I'm still looking for the killer of my wife.
Oh.
Is that too dark for this podcast? I feel like it might be too dark for this podcast.
Dark start.
Dark start.
We don't want to be dark.
It's okay.
We want to be.
It's okay because the movie
dark.
we watched, did not have a dark start.
No.
It had a very happy start and immediately turned into a dark start. It was weird. I don't know what to think about that.
What movie was it?
But we'll get to that in a second. Yes, see, I feel like in my head I'm running the podcast right now. I'm doing both sides of the story, and TC's not able to actually say anything.
I'm here too. Yeah. Let me chime in. I have things to say. I have like 5 notes. It's cool.
That's okay. I don't have a lot of notes for this one, actually. But anyways, the movie that we watched this week is the 2008 film. Man, this movie's only 10 years old. Wow.
Man, that's crazy. That is really strange to think of, that this movie's only 10 years old.
Yeah, that just dawned on me, that it's not that old. The 2008 film, Bolt. Which I know what you're thinking. This is the biopic film about the bolts that went into Frankenstein's neck. Well, you would be wrong.
No, it's about Usain Bolt, the fastest man alive. No, what is this movie about, Jeff?
I like TC's better than mine.
Because I wrote it when I did the post for before we record. We throw the episode up so that people know what we're going to be talking about if they want to ask any questions. I actually did get 3 tweets that were relatively the same tweet of, I forgot Bolt was a Disney movie. So
it seems like a general consensus that this movie does not feel like a Disney movie, or people don't remember it ever being a Disney movie.
Yeah.
I remember them advertising the crap out of this film, but I never saw it, and I didn't know anybody who ever saw it either, for that matter.
Your first experience with Bolt outside of all the rampant advertising. I will say, I mean, oh no, did we... No, you cut that. You had referenced Katzenberg before we started recording. I said, don't you dare rope him into this. Although they did something with Bolt here that was very it's a DreamWorks maneuver, right? And it's to advertise the movie with the voice actors. That's not something Disney typically doesn't do. It's not something that Pixar does. I mean, think about all these celebrity voices that have come out in Pixar movies. You never see a big banner that says, Tom Hanks is Woody in Toy Story, where DreamWorks is incessantly will advertise with the name of the celebrity. Will Smith is the fish in Shark's Tale. I can't remember the character's name.
Is the fish. Yeah. Just general fish.
It's a very DreamWorks-esque way to advertise a film, where Disney very much will let they do a good job in separating the character from who does the voice acting, right? So that the characters themselves can live on as the characters, as opposed to the person who does their voice, right? So,
right, and it's weird though, because so going along that line where, like what you just said, where Shrek, or sorry, not Shrek. I just immediately thought Shrek in my head. DreamWorks will advertise the movie, will advertise the voice actors as like they're part of their big marketing thing. With them doing it with this one, because I mean, I having no knowledge of what this movie is, besides the fact that I knew John Travolta and Miley Cyrus sang the song.
Right.
That's a lot of S's, by the way.
Miley
Cyrus sang the song at the end of the movie. Besides knowing those 2 things, I had no idea what this film was about. And it's so strange that they pushed. Okay, Miley Cyrus, I get, she'd been doing Hannah Montana already at this point, right? So she's already a Disney staple. I get pushing her. But she's not even the main actress in this, or she's not even really the main character. Penny's almost borderline a secondary character in this film.
Yeah, certainly with Travolta, like Bolt is the title character, he's the main character, and since we're really kind of doing things out of order here and just discussing the voice acting and whatnot, I think it's for the best that she's not a main character, because though she does adequately, I don't think there's any. I
Mm.
don't. Okay, so this is
There was never really any emotion behind that line.
it didn't. It didn't.
Those lines.
Her performance isn't very endearing, for as endearing as the character probably should be, and
Right.
this plays more into the marketability of the film. This is Lasseter's first full production. He had come on with Meet the Robinsons as it was nearing completion, but this he had full control over in its actual development, even going so far as firing the director who had done most of the development. The director of it's Chris Sanders. He did Lilo and Stitch, which
Lilo and Stitch,
is our number one movie right now in this
Yep.
grouping. But Sanders couldn't take notes from Lasseter. There was just creative differences, so Sanders departed the project. They brought in the other director, and they had animated this entire film, not the entire film, but at least the majority of it, to the original voice actor of Penny, which was Chloe Moretz, Hit Girl.
Yep.
And
Hit Girl. Yep.
her voice does remain as young Penny when Bolt is adapted in the first minute of the film. But they capitalized on the popularity of Miley Cyrus in order to help sell this film. And Bolt was a success. It was a financial success, and it was nominated for Best Animated Film that year, much to everyone, even Lasseter's surprise, losing out to the far superior WALL-E. But I don't think they needed to. I mean, what do I know? I'm not running the business here. Maybe they did need to slap Hannah Montana's or Miley Cyrus's name on it to get people to come see it.
Right. But then what was the point of putting John Travolta's name on this? I mean, okay, yes, I get it. The man, I mean, he does the voice of Bolt.
Mm-hmm.
But at this time in his career, I mean, he's not really doing a whole lot. I mean, he is doing stuff, but he is way past his prime at this point in his career.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he had Wild Hogs.
I'm actually
And,
I was just looking up Wild Hogs. Is that a Disney movie?
Yep.
Because he might have just been under contract or under a Buena Vista
man.
contract, and they were using him to. Well, you
Yep,
know
it's
what?
a touchstone.
That's not entirely true, because he was always their choice for Bolt. There was nobody else who auditioned for the part. There was no one else who was considered for the part. It was always meant to be John Travolta.
So does that mean John Travolta is our 80s actor in our animated film that we've seen so far?
Maybe.
I wasn't going to say comedian because that's not true.
Hey,
at all.
when you started, Welcome Back, Kotter.
when it
That's
goes back to Vinny,
hey.
Vinny Barbarino, man was 30 years younger, 30 years younger at that point.
That was a comedian. That was a comedic role, right?
That's true. That was Vinny Barbarino was a very comedic role. I mean, he did, but then John Travolta decided to do not decided to do Grease. He did Grease, and then after that, it was just all more serious with occasional comedy. I guess you could say.
It's true. It's true.
So my only thing I could think of is that the reason why I mean, I don't. If they always wanted him, maybe they have another legit reason. But I guess in my head, having the marketing be John Travolta and Hannah Montana, you're hitting the adult and kid demographics.
Yeah, you're definitely casting a wide net.
Right. Because I mean, see, that's a little bit too wide though of a net, because even if John Travolta was primarily late 70s, early 80s, and maybe the parents were, oh man, if they were 10, no, that's too much of a gap. That's weird. So I can't even. My old argument why they cast those or put those two together as part of their advertising, it just fell apart in my head because it doesn't make sense.
and once again, proof why we don't run a major studio, because it
that's
worked for them.
It did somehow, or isn't that weird? It's weird. So now let's talk a little bit about what the plot of this.
Yeah,
film is,
let's back up, because you had no. Did you have any knowledge of what this movie was going to be? Did you know it was a road trip movie?
I did not. I wrote down real quick my basic summary of this film is that it's the Truman Show mixed with Homeward Bound.
Okay, that's a fair combination. Yeah.
Right? 'Cause, so like I had no idea what this movie was about. I did not know, and I'm watching the first 3 minutes when Penny adopts Bolt from the place, and my initial note went, the animation is already better than what we've seen, and I'm like, the quality's really good, and I'm like, oh, I kind of like this opening.
Yeah.
This is kind of nice. It has a little bit of the Pixar like emotional feel to it, and a little bit of kind of it's a little silly and funny in a spot.
It's cute. He's
I'm like,
always a little puppy.
yeah.
Oh, he's got a little carrot. Arr, arr, oh, look at
Yeah, like I'm like, okay, I like this. This is kind of nice. And then that's not even 180. Guys, we did what's oh my goodness, I can't do math right now. We did a 540 spin, okay? It was a spin around, but like twice. Or that's not even right. 1.5 times. It was so abrupt. I went, what the crap is happening? Like I did not know what was happening, and then I'm like, and then the next 10 minutes I'm just going, wait, so is there anything Bolt can't do? Because I mean, he jumps far, he's got great timing and precision and laser eyes, and
he's got everything.
Like,
he's got everything.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a superhero movie. I'm like, did Disney make a superhero movie before like just like 10 years after the original like surge of superhero films had come out?
Oh, Incredibles is only a few years old at this point. Are they capitalized? It's like if Michael Bay made an animated movie, or right. Jerry Bruckheimer. I wouldn't go as far as Michael Bay, but it definitely had the Jerry Bruckheimer feel to it, of slow motion helicopters and explosions and motorcycle chases. And I'm sitting here watching it because I remember this movie fairly well. I haven't seen it once before, but I'm sitting here wondering. I'm wondering what Jeff's thinking right now.
I was so confused because it was teetering on that level where, and obviously now that I know, in hindsight, now that I know that it was all just a TV show and it was all just fake, it makes a lot more sense to me. But that initial 10 minutes, it was teetering on it being so ridiculous, but not enough ridiculous. Like so ridiculous that I'm like, this has got to be a dream, or this is something. There's something weird about this. But I'm like, it's either got to be a dream or is this the movie? But also, it never went so far that I had moments where I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is a weird superhero animal movie, and I'm like suspending my disbelief in the fact that it seems so action movie over the top but maybe that's what they were intending. I was so confused until they finally they stopped and Penny took him into the trailer.
And they walk him off set. Yeah.
Wait, what? What's going on? I don't.
And then the reveal. It's all fake. If the dog believes it's real, we believe it's real.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting there going, that's not how a studio runs their shows. I'm pretty sure that man would have been fired. James Lipton would have been fired immediately from it because James Lipton did the voice.
That's right, yeah. That's the actor studio, James Lipton?
Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious. I didn't know that.
Yeah, isn't it?
That's great.
As the director. I looked it up because I'm like, he sounds familiar. Because if there's anything, not to take a step back again from what we were just talking about, the voice actors, if there's anything, there's some interesting voice actors that were cast in this film. Or there's just a couple of interesting actors that were voiced in this film, just in parts that I'm like, why are you wasting your time on that?
See, honestly, I think that the voice acting is cast really well across the board, except Miley Cyrus. Even John Travolta, parts of me, I'm like, I don't know, but knowing that the part was written for him, that he was always intended to be, I thought he did fine. But yeah, James Lipton as the director, and back to the Jerry Bruckheimer presents. I don't think I could watch a full movie like that. I think we had just enough of it to establish the universe that Bolt thinks he's in, so that everything from that point on, I didn't. There was never a moment where they pulled a gag where he tried to use his powers that I didn't at least smile. He ran into the fence. I smiled when he kept trying to bang his head against the door to get out of the dog catcher's van. Like I smiled every time when he couldn't bend the bars. He's like, "What? It's styrofoam! It's styrofoam!" Like it was great logic to him. Yeah.
Yep. I did like a lot of those gags too. I'm not gonna lie. and I mean, there is a lot. While I'm kind of crapping on the first like third of the film.
That's fine.
They're like my notes mostly, and I'm looking at my notes right now, and pretty much most of them take place for that first third.
Mm-hmm.
Once it becomes the road movie, I kind of stopped taking notes because I was watching the movie at that point, and I'm like, okay, all right, okay. Like it was entertaining me.
Yeah.
Not to spoil ending thoughts about this film. But that first third, I guess it felt so weird going into it, and then they kind of hit a spot where once they revealed that it was a TV show, and here's the plot, and which I initially thought it was all just. It wasn't. I didn't think it was going to be a road movie in addition to a like eye-opening life realization movie.
Another character, another protagonist on a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah. Which, keep in mind, I did realize something. Bolt got knocked out and put in that box in California and was shipped all the way to New York before he was let out.
He was probably
That
very
seems
hungry.
a little weird. He probably
Hey,
is.
you know what? There's overnight delivery. You can do overnight. It's cool.
It had to be overnight delivery. I mean, just based upon... it had to be. Otherwise, that puppy would have been very hungry.
Like Mittens the cat. Like now, I've only seen this the one time before, and I didn't really care for it, and that's on me. It's not a credit or a discredit to the film. It's just I don't think Miley Cyrus is all that charming or talented. I know she has her audience, but to me, I've never been a fan. I've obviously departed from Hannah Montana's age demo when being in college and out of college when it was airing, and
You're totally not part of her demographic? What are you talking about, TC? I'm pretty positive you are her demographic.
I don't really care for her music all that much. I don't really care when she's being interviewed. So, like, carrying all that with me and trying to watch this movie and depart myself from Miley Cyrus, I gave this movie a hard time for no good reason. Rewatching it now and realizing she has very few lines in this movie. She is not the core of this film at all. And sitting down and being fair. Like, that's something that occasionally with movies we have strong feelings for one way or the other. We have to be critical of and analytical and be fair to a film. So when I sat down to watch it this time, I'm like, all right, all that aside, I'm not gonna be a hater just for the sake of not liking some actress. That's not a proper way to review this film.
Right.
I found I enjoyed it quite a bit more than I initially did in that one viewing I've had before. I could really, and especially coming out of Meet the Robinsons and seeing Lasseter's hands touching that film and going back through the couple of films in this very small dark age that we've been in, I could really see the Pixar touch. I could really see where Disney could go with this. I could really see a modernization of the Disney library in it being a journey of self-discovery. Like the I wants that we've seen of many of these traditional classic Disney films is quite a bit different in these more modern films, right? It's not, I want to live in the castle. It's not, I want to be part of your world. It's the desires of our protagonists have been shifting with the styles of these movies, and I could really appreciate that in its execution for this. And it didn't slow down as much as I had remembered it. I was a little worried that this was going to be boring, but it actually has a pretty good pace to it, and I was happy with that.
If there's anything, there was one thing that I just got super annoyed by though, and I'm going to tell you right now, and it does lend itself a little bit to, I guess a little bit of the pacing, because it almost in certain times felt a little too fast in like one or two spots. But I was getting super annoyed by the number of times these animals got onto a moving vehicle of some sort, and then 2 minutes later, were immediately either jumped off or flung off the vehicle. Because it happened with the U-Haul, it happened with the train, and it happened with the animal shelter truck. And it was just...
And probably several times in between. Yes, yeah. It's a bit contrived there. I won't say that the script is tight. They did manage to do some nice callbacks. As far as Bolt is concerned, they set him up nicely. They sent him through his journey, and they paid it off really nice with the super bark being his best power, as he said. Like, there's some nice call and response over the course of the movie. But there are those fallacies, like getting on all those vehicles very conveniently to get from the East Coast to the West Coast. And they didn't pay. I thought of this just before we started recording. Mitten's story. She didn't have claws, did she? Did I miss them pay that off?
You know what? I don't think you missed it.
Okay.
I don't remember her having claws.
Because remember, like, when she's introduced, she's threatening the pigeons for food, and she's like, "Oh, I got these big nasty claws." And then when Bolt's going to throw off the bridge, she talks about her claws. And being a house cat that was abandoned, I just kept waiting for the payoff of that to be a moment where she needed her claws and had to admit that she didn't have them, and that never happened. And that's odd.
No, because the closest that she ever got, I mean, she didn't necessarily need the claws. It was primarily just that she just couldn't hold on to it. But it was when they were on the train and the ladder was starting to fall off, and she was trying to hold on to the bolt. Mm-hmm. Ironically, she was trying to hold on to the bolt to hold on to Bolt.
Yeah.
Guys, do you see what they did there? This is genius screenwriting 101 right there.
But as far as...
but that's like the closest it came. But I mean, her claws wouldn't have saved her from that anyway.
Yeah.
So
I just felt like that was a hanging thread that they didn't tie up.
It would have been better if... But I mean, this would have changed the climax. It would have been better if Bolt was like gripping on to like some sort of canvas thing, something that she could have like threw her claws into. Like if that's what they were going to do, if they were going to pay it off, she could have thrown her claws into it, to like hold on to it, but she didn't have the claws, or maybe she only had one or something like that.
It's very minor, but it was just something I noticed in terms of the overall strength of this script itself. Because I really like Mittens as a character. Honestly, her close-ups, the animation on that, even now, is really impressive. I mean, we're 10 years removed.
Oh, yeah.
Mittens' design and movements and the detail in her fur was so... It was when he was hanging over the overpass, to go back to that scene, where I actually took note. Wow, she looks really good. Like, her animation is so good.
Because they have a good animation on her and her character model, because her hair is like, she's got some parts of her hair that aren't matted down, some that are, some that are just like dirty. It's a very interesting design. She's not a perfectly clean cat, but she's also not like a Siamese cat or another like very short haired animal where there's no fluff to her. She's got this kind of natural mix between the two of them, and definitely. There's just like any of these movies, there's some spots where the animation's a little off or something doesn't look quite good. But this movie definitely did have a fairly even consistency of quality, just how well it looked, how good it looked in a lot of spots. One of my favorite things, and I don't know, I'm pretty positive that like a DVD copy of this film, you probably won't be able to notice it as well. I watched it through my Stars app because I was trying out Stars for a week. Guys, real quick, okay, I told TC this off mic, but I got to tell you guys too. My television knows that I'm watching these movies because I did not have a copy of this movie, and it's not streaming on Amazon Prime or Hulu or Netflix. And my television, my Amazon Fire TV box, I turned it on Thursday, and it gave me an advertisement
Hello, Jeffrey.
for Bolt. Now
Would you
playing
like to
on
watch
Stars.
Bolt? Now playing on Stars.
Yes. It was one of those moments where I went, "Oh, what a coincidence! That's kind of terrifying."
Thanks, Hal.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Hal. And of course, I started my trial so I could watch Bolt without having to buy it.
That's going to be.
'Cause I'm not an idiot, guys.
Such an interesting survey once you're like done with your free trial. Like, why did you decide to try Stars out? Oh, well, I really wanted to watch Bolt. Huh?
Yep.
Really? No one wants to watch that.
That's why we were advertising it. We were hoping somebody would.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. You're the one person in America that watched Bolt on Stars right now.
Someone ran into the Disney offices like, Mr. Lasseter, someone watched Bolt.
We got someone.
No, that's not fair. There is certainly a fan base for this movie.
I'm sure there is.
Hey,
I needed to tell everybody else listening that I thought that was hilarious timing that it knew. Like, oh, so based upon your other watch history, you're watching a lot of Disney movies. I bet this is the one you need now.
Yes, I wonder if it'll advertise the next few for you.
I'm very curious to see if Princess and the Frog pops up next, actually.
Oh man,
No, so anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, I'll go back. Sorry,
That's
I
fine.
got myself sidetracked.
We're back into tradition with Disney here in that it's similar to 101 Dalmatians and Lady and the Tramp pulling Disney animation out of a tailspin in that
Right.
it's a dog movie. We haven't had one of these in a while
that's
where
true.
they have a I should have done the count before I made this remark, but there are quite a few dog movies in the Disney canon, and this is just lends to just yet another one.
They like their dogs as either major or secondary characters.
Like-
That's just kind of a thing that they
Yeah,
have.
the way Disney treats dogs is like the trailer park montage where he's begging for the food, where they just keep cutting to the door opening like, "Aw, aw," and then Mitten's standing there like, "You get out of here, you can't!" and they throw the frying pan at her.
And then when that happens, that's when they make a movie like The Princess and the Frog or Tangled. No, so one of the things I loved about this film, and it was something I did not notice in the beginning portion of it, and it showed up it showed up during I think it's during the travel montage when they're hopping from car to car. And then after that, I noticed it almost every single time, and it's really noticeable when the animal shelter truck. There's this big, wide like establishing shot of this kind of like city, like this small town in a valley, and the camera pans down, and you see the animal shelter truck pull into its spot, kind of off in the distance a little bit. But something I noticed on at least the HD copy was that all of those wide establishing shots of locations are all done to look like oil paintings.
I made a note of backgrounds myself because they had definitely a hand drawn quality to them. I know
Right.
I had thought it was Tangled that did this, but I know that Disney developed a canvas technique to create brush strokes so that they could do their initial animatics and storyboards all hand drawn. And in transferring from hand-drawn to the CGI models, that they wouldn't lose the hand-drawn quality, which lends to the innovation as opposed to chasing the fads that Disney's been guilty of the past few movies, that they are looking, okay, how do we create a trademark again? How do we give ourselves a style? And this blending of the hand-drawn style is... I like it because you're right. It's good of you to notice the backgrounds because I did as well. They're very pretty. They're like even when they're on the bridge waiting for the train like to fly underneath them, and there's a wide that swings around. The backgrounds in this movie are quite pretty. We can go back to that. It goes without saying, but these movies are good looking.
Oh yeah, definitely, and that's the biggest thing is that we've even going jumping back a couple films to like Chicken Little or oh my goodness, guys, it's been like
Meet the
2
Robinsons.
weeks. Why can I?
Home on the Range.
Meet the Robinsons. No, not that.
We
far.
do not talk about Home on the Range.
Let's not go crazy. We only talk about it when we say that was one of the funnest episodes that we've recorded in a long time. No, but these movies do look very pretty, and this segue from the 2D animated films into the 3D animated films actually went a lot smoother than I was expecting it to. But granted, they had 10 years from Pixar coming out, and I'm sure Disney. We know that because a lot of those films were in production for 3, 4, 5 years before they came out, or a lot of these were. They obviously had started developing something with the CG, but the transition into them was fairly decent. Considering that this is a company that had been doing traditionally 2D animated films for the last, I don't know, what, 50
years,
60, 70 years, something like that at this point, and they'll just go, hey, we're just, we're going to stop that
Pivot.
now. Is that cool with you guys?
Over here, pivot.
Yeah.
You're right. And if we look at how we saw that transition happen with the way they started utilizing computers all the way back to Great Mouse Detective and Oliver and Company, and then getting these fully realized CG characters with Carpet and the Hydra from Hercules, and then mixing the multiple different styles of animation for Treasure Planet, and then making that shift over with Chicken Little and now Meet the Robinsons and now Bolt. Yeah, you're right. give them, I believe, some credit is due to Disney and seeing how they did manage to make that transition rather swiftly, at the very least, if not smoothly. And yeah, I appreciate them for that.
I do, and so we kind of briefly talked about some of the voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we talk about like? Okay, so our main characters are Bolt,
Mm-hmm.
Mittens, and what is it? It's Rhino,
Oh,
right?
Rhino the hamster. Yep. Who? Yeah, I don't know why, and it must be some other movie that came out at this time. I was ready to be annoyed by Rhino, if only for the fact that I thought Jim Belushi did the voice. Like, I don't know why I had that in my head. He must have voiced a character at the time. I don't know why I would have thought that, but when Rhino was about to be introduced, I was like, okay, I managed to depart myself from Miley Cyrus. Can I handle Jim Belushi? Not that Jim Belushi is awful all the time. I think of things like Return to Me. He's very charming in that. But I was a little nervous that it was going to be our 80s celebrity, 80s, 90s celebrity who gives us just a bit too much. Instead, like Pixar is apt to do, and like I love him for this, it's essentially a nobody. He's a guy who's done a couple voices before. He was in Home on the Range and Chicken Little, but he's not a name you're going to recognize.
Right. Yeah, he's a part of the art department. Like he's part of the art department for some of these films. Like he's a storyboard artist, which TC, you'll be happy to know, he was a storyboard artist on Romeo and Juliet. So
see, I knew there was a connection somewhere. I knew. Oh man.
Yeah, just trying to. Also, he did do some work on Donkey's Christmas Shrek-tacular. So he's an artist who's kind of worked with DreamWorks a bunch, which is kind of strange. But
well, hey, Chris Sanders, when he was fired from this, went over to DreamWorks. So, but he did come back anyway. Rhino, you wanted to talk about Rhino the hamster.
Rhino the hamster.
This is going to make or break the review here, because how you feel about this character, I think, says a lot about the overall film. I don't know. Go ahead.
You summed it up pretty well, because I kind of went into it going, okay, first off, at this point we had already been well introduced to Bolt, because it's like, I think Rhino doesn't show up till like halfway through the film.
Yeah, about the halfway point. Mm-hmm.
About a halfway point, right? So like I'm like, okay, so here's Bolt and here's Mittens. These are our two main characters. It's gonna be okay. So they're trying to get to California. Fine. They'll probably come across a couple different situations where they have to help each other to get themselves out of whatever situation they're in. Like I was kind of going through like all the tropes in my head of what this movie was gonna be, and then they get to the trailer park, and that's kind of funny. And that whole segment of her teaching him how to teaching Bolt how to beg. And then we cut inside to a TV channel flipping, or a TV set flipping around, and that it's a giant fat hamster changing the channel. And I'm like, what? Okay, is this a villain? Like, is this going to be some weird villain, I guess, quote unquote? And then for it to turn into, oh no, this is the third member of our main cast.
The completion of the trio.
Yeah, it was so strange, and I'm not gonna lie, it took a little while for Rhino to like, for me to warm up to Rhino, because I'm like, okay, I see this is the comic relief now, I guess, in a movie that was already kind of funny up to this point. By the way, loved the pigeons. I thought the pigeons were hilarious. I thought they were well animated, and the way that it matched the way that they were talking, I love that.
We'll come back to the pigeons.
We'll come back to the pigeons in a minute. The god feathers. So, but like Rhino was such a conundrum to me. I was trying to figure out what this character was going to do. He then for a little while felt like, oh, he's going to be another secondary character that's only going to be in a little bit of the film, and then he's going to go away, or he's just a character they come across during their journey.
Right.
But he stuck around, and then, like when they have to go into the animal shelter to save her, or to save Mittens, and or was it Bolt has to go in to save Mittens. Because Bolt gets out. Because Rhino saves him. Yeah. But like the inside of his ball like steams up, and he erases the eyes and then draws the smile on. I chuckled at that. And I went, okay, You're kind of a weird little character, but I think I'm on board with this. I don't know. It's always weird to me when movies introduce a character that becomes the main character, like or a main character, so late in the film.
Yeah, it's without any sort of setup before the hand, that can be dangerous. You can get something as awful as Ben, or you can introduce a character like Carpet at the 20-minute mark, and then it's okay. I think with Rhino, much like you have to be in certain moods to watch certain movies in this library, and that may affect how you feel about him, Rhino, you have to be in a certain mood of whether or not he's going to bug you or not. Because I would totally understand anyone watching this, and even if you felt this way, Jeff, that he was just too much. I would totally get that. But I think given the right circumstances, sitting down to just have a good time and accept the movie for what it is, I remember him bugging me the first time. Maybe that's why I thought he was Jim Belushi. But this time he was just teetering on the edge, like, just one more yelling awesome moment, and I don't know, but the eyes and drawing the smiley face, and he had some moments.
And maybe that's to me why he didn't completely bother me as much as I agree that I think he would have in other situations. And it's maybe because he came in at a point in the film where I went, okay, this is just going to be one of these types of movies. Because at this point, we already had this beautiful, sweet little, warm, heartfelt opening with the dog, or with Bolt getting adopted. We had this ridiculous 10-minute over-the-top Jerry Bruckheimer action movie sequence, and then then we had this kind of sad, getting lost moment, and then we had a weird Godfather-like section, or like mafia movie section. So at this point, I'm like, this is a movie of just kind of different things, like different genres, not necessarily all in a bad way, because it did kind of flow, but they did change. It doesn't, the randomness didn't stick out, and we never talked about this last week, but the randomness didn't stick out as much in this movie as the random 70s kung fu moment from Meet the Robinsons that we never talked about, where the movie just becomes purposefully badly dubbed and super grainy and desaturated, and it becomes just a karate movie. Or a kung fu movie, where that really stuck out to me as random. These segments, these moments, just kind of felt like, okay, this is just what they're doing in this movie. And he and Rhino didn't feel that annoying, because I kind of felt like I just don't know where this movie's going to go with anything.
He did help push the plot along, so it was nice to introduce him there. Because I agree, they had reached a point where they were risking meandering, and to further the plot with the use of Rhino, I think, was quite helpful. But you have brought up the pigeons more than once here. Let's talk about that. This is very clever, this movie, because the pigeons are regional. Okay, we see three different types of pigeons from three different regions of the country, and you have the very New York. Clearly, if whoever designed and came up with these pigeons said they were not inspired by the good feathers from Animaniacs, they'd be a liar, because they are even the same color scheme. They're not necessarily the same characteristics, but one's name is Bobby, one's name is Joey, right? Come on, this is the good feathers, and you're right. They're animated so I love the way their head moves, and they did just enough of him not being able to recognize Bolt. I recognize that bird. What do I know you from? I know this dog. Hold on a minute. No, it'll come to me, guys. I know you're looking at me like I like that they used him to mess with Mittens. But then you get the California pigeons, and they're trying to pitch a script to Bolt. Like, oh, hey, I got the script for you. Oh, man, you're going to love it. Aliens. Like, and then in the end, you get the country bumpkin pigeons.
That's right. I forgot about the country bumpkins once. First off, I want to know, real quick sidebar, I want to know, how did those pigeons pitch their idea to the studio producing the Bolt television show to get the next season be aliens?
Maybe the studio just had allowed themselves to have terrible ideas, like pigeons who think aliens would be a good idea. Because I've watched a fair share of television, And I've seen a fair share of movie franchises that definitely jump the shark from time to time, or nuke the fridge if you want to go in cinematic terms. So I'm
modern reference there.
looking at a show having Penny have a face change and get abducted by aliens. Surely someone watching that would be like, man, that is such a terrible idea. A pigeon could have thought of it.
Yeah. I liked, the biggest thing I liked about them, I loved their animation. First off, I love how well they nailed like what I picture a pigeon looking like and doing whenever, like if somebody asked me, Jeff, what does a pigeon do when it's sitting still? Like I went that, like that's exactly what I pictured.
Watch this character from Bolt move.
Yeah, and like I'm like, yeah, that seems right to me, and I like the syncing to the to the voices or to the dialogue real well, and it felt good. I legitimately enjoyed watching them every time they came on.
They put a lot of detail into them as well for how. They could easily have copy and pasted 3 pigeons and just gave them 3 different voices, but each pigeon of those, the good feather pigeons and then the California pigeons and even the country bumpkin ones, all have a different color scheme, all have a different, even the third pigeon for the New York pigeons who didn't say much, he's molting. Mm-hmm. Like his hair is all messed up, or his feathers are all messed up. So he clearly has a characteristic about him. It's good. That's attention to detail. If you're willing to spend that much attention on detail on something so insignificant, that says a lot about what you want the total product to look like, and that is good. That consistency of looking at the little things pays off in the end. Like that makes a stronger film than the relatively inconsistent look what we had last week with, like you mentioned, Meet the Robinsons having the kung fu moments, or
right.
The inconsistency in that, or the weaker the movie is, the more you can pull at, like, what if you had just designed this character a little differently, if you just designed this little, hell, going all the way back to Hunchback of Notre Dame, I like realizing they didn't put any reflection in Quasimodo's one eye because he would be blind in that eye is a great attention to detail, and those add up. Those attention to details add up, and also it shows the mistakes when you do something like recast your voice actress in the middle of post-production. Like, okay,
that can't be good. Like, why? I'm curious to know why they recast her.
Oh well, I mean, we already sort of touched on that. It was clearly to capitalize on the popularity of Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana. I have no doubt in that.
I suppose at that point, because Chloe Grace Moretz hadn't been as big as she, I guess, well, yeah, as she's more well known nowadays than she ever was. I mean, certainly, that was still pre-Kick-Ass.
Yeah, and you couldn't sell a movie on her name as well as you could sell a movie on Miley Cyrus's name at the time.
Right.
Now, you flip that.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. And now, I don't know, does anybody actually want Miley Cyrus in one of their films? I feel like only if it's to make a complete fool of herself.
Now
Can everybody do that?
She's a punchline now. It's fine. She'll probably go through some sort of renaissance, which begs a question here. Okay, so we've been discussing coming out of this Dark Ages and moving into what is essentially called the Second Renaissance. I actually have found a more proper term for this that has been used on Reddit and a couple of message boards. We are entering the Revival era. And I think that's a pretty apt name, though the just handful of films we saw as the dip in quality came out of the just Lion King and Pocahontas and Tarzan and Mulan, and then just the dip. I think calling what we're entering now the Revival is a very good title, a very good moniker for the movies we're about to watch. And before I watched Bolt, I wondered if I would consider this a second Dark Age film, or if I would consider it part of the Revival. And after viewing it now, I think I am going to consider this. It toes the line because it doesn't have the classic quality of the movies we've seen before and movies that are going to come. But I think I am going to consider this the beginning of the Revival, much like Great Mouse Detective should be toes the line. And Rescuers Down Under is then that weird middle ground as well, even though it's between Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, as part of this new era. Yeah.
Because you can see that the film has already, or the films are already changing and going a new direction. You can see it. They're not obviously. It takes obviously, yeah. Like those two films, like you just mentioned, The Grace Mouse Detective and Rescuers Down Under. Those aren't quote unquote perfect. It's not even the right term to use. They're not the movies that are like, no, these movies nailed it. They're not The Little Mermaid, The Aladdin, The Beauty and the Beast. That are like, yep, those movies nailed what people wanted, but they're the precursors where they're like, well, you can see elements of what made those other ones really good. They're there. They just haven't worked out all the kinks yet. They haven't smoothed out the creases in a couple spots. And well, if they just changed this little thing, it would have made this better, which would have made this better. So that's a good point to bring up, and I kind of agree. I can kind of see it knowing what's coming up next.
Yeah.
You can see, and not for us to sound like a broken record as well, but the whole, you can see Lasseter's input. You can see that the studio is getting smart. I don't want to leave it all. I'm not putting it all on Lasseter's shoulder. I'm not saying that he was the one that came in and said, we're going to do it like this and everything's perfect now. But you can tell the studio is shifting, and they're starting to realize the direction that they need to be going.
Right. As a business, as well as crafting memorable stories. Are finishing up a very neat era of experimentation, because honestly, without looking at the list and just knowing what's coming, things play it pretty safe from this point on in terms of the stories they tell, the marketability of the films that they make. And I liked I guess I don't mean to, this is not meant to sound like wrapping it up. We're just going off the cuff here. I liked the experimentation we saw with our little sci-fi trilogy of Lilo and Atlantis and Treasure Planet and right. We also got sci-fi with Chicken Little and Meet the Robinsons. I liked this experimental era of trying to find new ways to tell fresh stories and familiar stories at the same time. The way they're playing with the animation and the technology. I think Bolt is the culmination of, if you go from Lilo to now, right? Because I don't want to rope in Emperor's New Groove. That's an anomaly. But if you just look from Lilo to Bolt, a lot of what worked along the way is in Bolt, and a lot of what didn't work along the way, they forego. Like they have not used. I think the Bolt has a really sweet sense of humor. There's no like over the top jokes, but there's no and it doesn't seem to be any like crude jokes. Everything is very friendly. This is one of the most family friendly movies in the library. It being about a puppy, like the most like thrilling thing I think would be the Bruckheimer-esque animation sequence. But beyond that, this movie's very safe, and if any love of cute animals, sit a kid down to watch this movie. This is perfect for them. But the humor itself there's some great timing. There's some great callbacks to jokes. There's some a joke that's a little more above a kid's head that I can appreciate because I think it fits into my sense of humor as well as yours, Jeff, which is, who are you? I'm Mindy from the network. Mindy from the network. And he just keeps calling her Mindy from the network. That's funny. That commitment to that joke, that's funny. That style of comedy, they found it. They found it's not slapsticky, but it's a little more tongue in cheek, because Pixar being, I want to call it far more cinematic, more mature animation in its nuances and its themes and whatnot. I think Disney allows for itself to have a little more goofiness, a little more sharp humor, and a joke like that where you just keep calling her Mindy from the network. That's funny, and that's good humor. I think they found their humorous voice here. Excuse me.
And it's one of those. It's a good mix, like you said. It's a good mix between family friendly humor and not adult, because I would never say it's adult humor. I was just gonna say it, but I'm like, no, it's not adult humor. It's good, clean humor that an adult would laugh at.
Yeah, it's a little more highbrow, I suppose, to be where we're at. Like it's it's a thought out joke. It's not the easy joke, right?
Right. It's not the Chicken Little, we're throwing 1,000 jokes at you and one
One
of them's
of
going
them's
to
gonna
stick, right?
stick, yeah.
It's like, no, they actually kind of thought through the script a little bit more in some spots. And went, no, this joke is funny. This is the joke we're going to tell here.
Yeah.
You know, not, here's 12, see which one they like.
Go. If you don't like that one, the next one will work.
Okay.
And
Yep.
it's a lot of verbal sparring, I think, is what we're seeing more in this than we'd seen previously. And as far as the overall humor of movies to come, I hate to keep doing that, but it's hard now because we're so close. We're
so
only
close.
10 years of films left here. There's not a particular huge amount of visual gags in this movie, but the ones that are there are still really funny. To go back to the ball fogging up, squeaking out the eyeballs, got it, stealth, smile, like that's
The joke when he's trying to get out of the animal shelter van, and he's banging his head or whatever, and he stops, and then we cut over to Mitten, and Mitten's talking, and then she makes a comment.
Oh, yes.
Like, I don't even remember the exact line.
She's like,
but
you don't have super
"Or
strength,
laser
you don't have
eyes,
super bark, pause, or laser eyes, and
or laser eyes," and it cuts back to him just like
Stare.
staring intently at the. Like, I'm like, that's funny.
good.
That's a nice.
It's good.
That's a nice physical gag, or a visual gag that I laughed out loud for that one because I'm a sucker for stuff like that. I'm a huge sucker for good wordplay, for witty dialogue, and for visual gags of those natures of that nature where you're on one person and they make a comment and we cut back and the other person is doing something ridiculous in that. I love stuff like that. So much.
There were two other moments that they didn't go for the low hanging fruit. One was when they're in the house that's being moved cross country, and Mittens is teaching him how to be a house dog, and he's like, well, what do I got to do? And they just cut to him looking at the toilet and go, what? Out of there? And then that's it. They don't have that is literally a potty joke, but it didn't go any further than that. And another opportunity that they could have gone lowbrow was when he first gets to New York and he accidentally he gets the truck to flip the porta potty, and the porta potty opens. I feel like in a more lowbrow comedy, whether it's this library or my dreaded DreamWorks, they would have done a POV shot of the door opening and Bolt going, oh, right? But they didn't. It was a clean porta potty.
Right. Or at least had liquid coming out of it.
Yeah.
Like if we're not gonna have that POV when it hits the ground, there's liquid of some kind coming out of the porta potty.
Just the sound effect.
Yeah, but the fact that it was a dry, clean porta potty actually, actually was a surprise.
Yes, I'm happy they didn't go for the lowbrow joke.
It made me definitely. I guess we're brainwashed, TC. We're brainwashed by terrible films. We've been burned a couple times before with certain movies, including some things in this list. But I guess we're jaded now. We're the Aerosmith song, TC, and I don't know if we can ever come back from that. Hi, 2002. Yeah, good. Can I reference more stuff?
Yeah.
From
it? Go ahead.
So yeah, go ahead. No,
okay.
go ahead.
Well,
I was gonna move on.
I want to point this out because I spotted this in the. Well, hold on a minute. I have to take a drink of water before I cough into this microphone.
TC will be back in a moment before he dies. Also, while you're drinking, real quick, TC, I did put at the beginning of the last week's episode about about spoilers, potential spoilers. TC is dying in the background.
I coughed.
I don't know if you guys can
I
hear
coughed
that.
into your microphone, but not into the recording microphone. I just realized.
Oh, so now I'm sounding like an absolute idiot.
Your microphone's on my shoulder, and then like the recording mic's in front of me. Sorry, we're behind the scenes action here. Yes, we had a question last week about spoilers, and Jeff, thank you for putting that there. Continue.
Yep. So I wanted to just put at the beginning of last week's episode a spoiler warning because we are in the midst of films within the last 10 years, and it's very possible that people haven't seen these but might be interested in seeing them. Again, I'm well aware. I'm saying this 55 minutes into this week's episode. I was going to say at the beginning, and I completely forgot. But I wanted to just let people know, like we're not gonna not spoil these films.
We're gonna be completely open about them. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been open for the previous 47. We're not going to stop for the last 8. So it's just as a heads up, if you haven't seen these movies and you don't want them spoiled, don't listen to the podcast. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's not our
but
fault.
to be honest, I hadn't thought about it until I believe it was Wyatt who brought it up about and asking her about whether or not we would be discussing spoilers, and I don't know if we've had movies up to this point that suffered from some or suffered that had some twist in them that we could spoil. I think that Meet the Robinsons might have been the first real twist in the story in this entire library. And then once that I thought of the 10 or so movies we have left and realized more than half of them have a twist in them. And that certainly must be a modern convention that's coming through in this library of films. When we look at the history of cinema, as we've mostly experienced the history of animation through this library, particularly, obviously, Disney, but looking at cinema conventions, the twist, right? Though, yes, twists have existed through the course of cinema. There's there's an endless amount of movies you could point to from the beginning to now that are twist films. It would appear that more and more often that becomes the shtick of a film. Like, oh, you'll never see this twist coming. Which, I have to say, I hate when movies advertise that way. The twist you'll never see. Because guess what I'm waiting for? Guess what I'm looking for the entire movie now? Is the twist. Don't tell me there's a twist. Because, and that's, I write a lot, so I can already pick a movie apart as it's playing out. But don't tell me there's a twist. I'm going to go, okay, I got it. But all that being said, we are going to speak openly about these films, and I guess maybe it might be worth saying or discussing if certain twists work. I can think of one in particular that is fantastic, and one in particular that is not fantastic, and we will address those when we get to them.
Intriguing. I'm intrigued to know what TC's thoughts are on this matter, because I don't actually know what they are, guys. Sorry, I don't at all. Actually, I think I have an idea of what one of them is, but that's a conversation for another time. TBD, folks.
I think that I may suffer or have suffered from the psychoses that Bolt actually. He had a legit psychological issue. This is a realistic.
Okay.
It's called I wrote this down. The Dunning-Kruger effect. Okay, so the Dunning-Kruger's effect is when you have really high self-confidence until you find out you lack knowledge, and then your self-confidence decreases until you actually learn what you need to learn, and then you become confident again. It's an actual psychological phenomena that people can have, where you think you're awesome until someone points out just how not awesome you are, which affects your self-confidence until you get the materials you need to be as awesome as you thought you were.
See, now that's fascinating because I feel like that's not as well known of an actual condition. So that's the fact that they're pulling, and I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I'm sure a psychologist or a therapist have gone through all the Disney movie characters and have been like, oh yeah, well this is, they're actually suffering from this. Like Belle has a thing with animals, or I don't know, or strong men. I don't know, some weird reasoning that like there's probably some actual mental illnesses that every one of our characters have faced. But it's interesting that like that is something that's real and that they're using it now. They never call it out by name,
right?
But all the signs are obviously there.
Yeah, it's a neat, complex issue that I never would have, if I hadn't seen a little bit of trivia about it, would not have looked into, and then looking at it further, realizing, wow, that happens. I know so many people like that. I myself, I can think of moments in my life where I thought, oh, I'm here. Oh no, I'm not. Well, I'm gonna get here, and then validate myself.
Right.
And
I've definitely thought I've been smart about certain aspects until I was shown
proven wrong. For example, I was so confident about Romeo and Juliet.
It's okay, TC, because I was so confident that Penny Marshall was Gary Marshall's
that's right.
daughter. Right? Is that what I said?
But
Seriously.
that makes Bolt on one level perfect for kids. I already said that it's great for it being a cute film, that the humor is smart in it, that if you're not bothered by Rhino, I think it is a great movie to play on repeat because there's enough sweet qualities to it. But on a deeper level, it's a movie that you could use as a learning mechanism for a kid who feels, I thought I was good at baseball, but I didn't make the team. Well, let's practice and if you want to be good at baseball, let's get out in the backyard and practice, and then you can be as good as you thought you were. I think that this, like Bolt, his journey is a great learning mechanism for kids. I highly recommend this as a movie for families.
I did too, and because there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing bad inside the film. That there's nothing that a kid couldn't watch. Like you were saying earlier, maybe the little bit of an action scene in the beginning might be a little bit too much, but even that never came off as scary or as inappropriate. It was still just like, and especially in nowadays, in today's world where you have all like the Marvel movies and you have all these high action films that just are accessible to by kids. It's kind of just nothing major anymore. But yeah, it was still definitely a good film. Very interesting. I do want to point out one little piece of trivia that I stumbled across here.
Okay.
This film had been nominated for 12 awards. And all except for... No, more than 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I was wrong. 13
the Baker's
awards.
dozen.
And except for 3 of those awards... Right? Guys, I can't count. Yeah, 3 of those awards, it lost to the same exact film.
Was it WALL-E every time?
It was WALL-E for every... So an Academy Award, an Annie Award, a Broadcast Film Critic, a Chicago Film Critic, two Golden Globes.
Yeah. And WALL-E every
online
time.
Film Critics. Yeah, it's always WALL-E. And it's hilarious to look at the list. Granted, I mean, those 2 movies were released that same year. And guess which one I saw in theaters?
WALL-E. I mean,
I went with the rest of the world, which was WALL-E, because that movie's sad.
And let's be honest, WALL-E is the superior.
WALL-E's
is the superior film.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. If it was given the option between Bolt and WALL-E, it's WALL-E without even letting you finish asking the question.
Well, I think that a little kid might prefer Bolt and the cute puppies and kitties and gerbils as opposed to the not talking robot for 20 minutes.
The robot.
But what do kids know, right? Come on, we're adults here
Kids know
watching
nothing
adult
these
movies
days.
and not in the inappropriate stylings. Let's, Jeff, of all the movies we've watched in the library so far, where do you rank
I let you
this?
have that one because I have been beating you these last handful of weeks to it.
Before I let you answer, I'm just going to bring up the list here. Okay. I think I know where I'm going to put this based on our conversation. You helped me decide. So I'm curious where you're going to put this.
Good, because TC, honestly, going into this, I had not figured out where I wanted this on the list.
Yeah, neither did I. It helped having this conversation about it because it was so fresh in my mind, and reconsidering the past 3. This has been a tough grouping. We similarly with the Renaissance, and by the way, I'm killing time for you to think about this. Similar with the Renaissance, where all those movies are so good. Aladdin, I guess Aladdin was part of a different grouping, but Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Lion King, those movies are so good, and it's so hard to what's going to edge out the other. And I this is going to sound mean, but a lot of the movies in this round have been just the same amount of kind of just fine. That's been a little difficult to. There's been certainly things that have truly annoyed me. There's things that have just not appealed to me, and there's obviously Home on the Range.
Which is everything we detest.
Nearly everything.
Nearly everything. That's a good point.
It's this weird. It's weird to rank these. It really is coming down to how I feel in the moment versus feelings that I have strongly about this. And it really plays into the fact that I didn't see any of these movies in theaters. I did not see any of these movies until they were out on video, and oftentimes way after the fact. So I don't have nostalgia for them. It's made it difficult to rank these, except Lilo and Stitch, obviously, was pretty damn easy to stick at the number 1 slot for how great it is. To be determined if it remains there. Jeff, where do you rank Bolt in your list currently?
This is not easy, guys.
Okay.
But it's my number 3.
Number 3. Okay. Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet, and now Bolt. Okay.
Which going into this movie,
You would not have.
if you had told me I was going to rank it as number 3, I had already, last week, I'm like, oh God, it's the John Travolta, Miley Cyrus film. This thing's going to be like number 8. Or it's not going to be number 8 because nothing as bad as Home on the Range. But it's going to be at least like down below Brother Bear. Like in my head, I was already planning on this being a terrible film. It's not, actually. And as much as I enjoyed Meet the Robinsons with the time travel aspect and seeing like where it came from, like where we went from Chicken Little to Meet the Robinsons and the humor that was in it and like the dialogue, this movie actually, the combination of, unfortunately, the combination of the movies that it is, the combination of it being The Truman Show and Homeward Bound, which were 2 of my favorite films for the longest time. Haven't watched Homeward Bound in like 15 years though, so that might be
Might not hold up.
Might not hold up at all, which I'm really kind of afraid it hasn't, which is why I haven't watched it. But I still love The Truman Show. Like, a combination of those 2 things. I liked the music in it. I actually kind of dig the duet that John Travolta and Miley Cyrus sang at the end. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, once the credits are rolling, I was like,
catchy.
okay, that's Miley. And then when John Travolta started singing, I was like, oh, that's Danny Zuko singing it up over here.
Yeah, it's Danny Zuko singing. And I'm like, I kind of like that. I liked we didn't talk about it, but I liked the hand-drawn animation at the end during the credits, which is a very Pixar thing.
Yep.
But I liked that, and I liked how the film looked. And despite my confusion with the first 10, 15 minutes of this film as to what it is, and my 540 spin, or the film doing a 540 spin on me, and the introduction of Rhino halfway through, and I just wasn't sure what to expect of him. By the end of the film, like I said, and this is one of the reasons why I put it where I wanted to, or where I did, was because my notes kind of tapered off. And usually if I really hate a movie, I am making notes through the entire thing.
Right.
And this film, I sat back and I kind of just started watching it. And once they were on the road, once they got into the house, being shipped across country, once that sequence happened, kind of just from there on out, I was on board with the movie. And he gets to Hollywood and he goes and saves Penny, which we didn't talk about, but he saves her in the giant studio fire. I'm like, okay, I'm interested in this. Like
they bought a farm because that lawsuit must have been insane.
Yes, you just beat me to the punch because that was my first thought. I went, how did the studio let that happen?
I did not
Also,
remember that
she
at all.
nearly died.
I did not remember that at all. So as that was going, Candace, her dad's a lawyer, so she glanced over and she's like, that's a lawsuit.
Oh, yeah. Because, first off, where was all the fire safety equipment?
Oh,
If
man.
they have fire on that set.
And they left their star dangling from the ceiling? Come on now.
Right. Oh, man. Yeah, that's exactly. They literally bought the farm, not in the negative way, but the literal way. They bought the farm because of that
They
accident.
retired very nicely. Anyway, I
man.
derailed you there.
Anyway, sorry. But like that, even the ridiculousness of that moment and that being the first thought that popped in my head during that segment, I still enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the last half of the film, and it was good. And I comparing it to Meet the Robinsons, I did enjoy it just a little bit more than Meet the Robinsons.
So there you go. So it's your number 3.
It's my number 3.
All right.
Guys, why is Bolt number 3 on this list?
That's all right. Well, when looking at this movie and saying, as I've said before about how you feel when you watch a film is going to affect you, there's a sweetness in this movie that is it's nearly there. It's not in the same realm, but it's close to the sweetness of something like Winnie the Pooh, where Winnie the Pooh's just a sweet, cute film. It's a feel-good movie. There's nothing dark about that movie, and Bolt does delve into some obviously psychological issues and some and finding oneself. So there's a spiritual and emotional journey for your protagonist, but it still has that level of sweetness that it's just a fine movie. And I don't mean it's fine. I mean it's a good movie. Yeah. It's a feel good movie. And
TC, are we gonna have 2 different "it's fine" T-shirts? like it's fine and it's fine.
Oh man, it's it's in that realm that Winnie the Pooh had, just not the same as Winnie the Pooh. If you get my differentiation here.
Yep.
Something I forgot to mention about this movie that is worth noting is there's no villain. There is no there's some antagonistic characters such as Penny's agent,
Right.
who is definitely an a-hole Californian agent who is like, I'm so sorry, and we can totally spin this. Yeah, like, he's a
Yep.
wheeler and dealer. But there's no villain. Bolt is not he's facing the world, and he has to come to terms with what his misconceptions are. But there's no bad guy in this movie, and that's rare.
Could you argue that the villain is Bolt's own lack of knowledge or naivete of the world that he actually was living
Yeah,
in?
he's his own enemy in this.
He's his own villain.
And not
yeah,
not
exactly.
not his fault. I mean,
Not in a bad way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he didn't do this
exactly.
to himself. He was deluded, and much like Truman for the Truman Show, this was forced upon
Right.
him, and how he has to face the consequences of other people's actions is reflected on him. But it's a rarity to have a movie like this and not have a villain, because it is comparable to something like Toy Story, where you have Buzz Lightyear who believes he's a space ranger and has to learn that he's just a toy. But even still, though that is Buzz's journey, you very clearly have Sid, the villain, and Woody as the antagonist in Toy Story.
Right.
Whereas Bolt...
You
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you could argue, if we're really trying to find the villain, it's the director of the show.
Right,
You
because he did
know,
this to him, but...
because he did it to Bolt. But yeah, there's no confrontation. There's
Yeah,
there's no actual real villain to
Right.
this movie.
And that's interesting to me. But in terms of where I rank this, speaking of its sweetness, speaking of we talked about how this is a great introduction into the revival era of Disney Animation Studios. Everything they do right in this movie is a credit to the movies that came before it. Everything they don't do wrong is credit as well. And this is a tight margin here. But I think what tips this over the edge for me is that we don't have Ben the robot anywhere in this movie.
I was just gonna ask if you're putting this at your number 2.
Somehow, inexplicably, as shocked as you are that it ended up your number 3, I'm gonna make it my number 2. And that is crazy to me. I honestly didn't think this was going to be. I didn't know where this was going to go on the list. And looking at my list, Lilo Stitch is still firmly number 1 because it's such a strong movie through and through. But Treasure Planet does have certain elements that don't take it the distance, particularly introducing Ben so late in the game, so obnoxiously, really hurts that film when compared to something like Bolt here, where though yes, you do introduce Rhino late in the game, he has a critical role to the rest of the film. I suppose minor critical role. That's an oxymoron. So just somehow, Jeff, I am gonna make Bolt my number 2 in this round of movies.
TC, I am calling it right now. I think Bolt is the biggest upset on this list
For both of us.
because seriously, when I saw what was in this bank of 10,
Yeah.
Bolt was not the move. Was immediately like I said, was immediately the movie. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be the bottom of the list. I'll guarantee you that. I had higher hopes for Home on the Range than I did for Bolt.
When it really comes down to that final decision of, okay, if you had to watch this or this, where would you put? Okay, I'd watch it. If you watch this or this, where would you put it? This or this, and I really do.
TC, and that's making me kind of want to change that opinion right there. Because I think I would watch Bolt over Treasure Planet again.
Hey, you can change it. We will allow it. Do you want to think on it while I hit up the comments section?
Yeah,
Okay.
why don't you do that, guys?
Okay.
I don't want to be wishy-washy, but
No, it's
dang it, I think I would watch Bolt before I watch Treasure Planet again.
that's the fun of this is when we really have a conversation about these movies. Oftentimes I will have it ranked before we start, but there's about a good half the time where I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put it, and it helps having these conversations to really solidify my feelings about one or more of these movies. But while Jeff thinks about where he's actually going to rank this, and you all sit in suspense, I'm going to head over to facebook.com/topshelfpod every Monday before we record. We throw up the episode we're going to, or the movie we're going to talk about, and you guys can hit up the comment sections or throw questions at us on the thread, and then we will attempt to discuss as many as we're able to in the time allotted. Or if you want to hit me up on Twitter at TC's Big Head or Jeff at Random Bell, we always love having conversations there as well. And we do have a good few comments here from the listeners over on the Facebook page. Jeff, have you figured out your ranking yet? Or should I keep going?
Just keep going for a little while, guys. I'll make a decision eventually.
First up from Thomas. Thomas, one of our longest long-term listeners here, one of our most devoted fans. Thomas says, if we judge this recent run as the second Dark Age, I see Bolt as Oliver and Company. It's a fun yet uneven movie that shows Disney's almost getting it right after a long stretch of getting it wrong. Also, it means that the second Renaissance, or whatever we're going to call it, is not far behind. And then also he says he loves that the pigeons are a reference to the Animaniacs characters, the Good Feathers. A major plus. Yes, any Animaniacs reference is a plus. Check out my Ghostbusters episode of the 1 Minute Rewatch. Plug.
Way to plug other shows.
Get a co-reverse here.
I can't believe
I think instead of calling it the second Renaissance, what do you think, Jeff? Should we call it that, or should we call it the revival era?
I like the revival area. This is a smaller patch of land that everything's revived in. No, I like calling it the revival area. Dang it, I did it again. Revival era. I like calling it that because that does feel right. Because based upon, again, what's coming, I get the sense of Disney going, what made our classic stuff work well? What did people like?
This is
and
just
it's not ripping it off. No. They're not just being like, well, we're just gonna make another fairy tale, but it's taking the good stuff from the modern era and it's mixing it correctly with the good stuff from the bygone eras, and they produce this good kind of like second wind revival of these Disney movies. And I do like that term better.
I do too. And it's not just the movie's quality. It's that Disney made a name for themselves again in what we will call the revival era, that they revived their animation studio so that Disney in an animated movie meant something again, and that it's truly worthy of the title of revival. So that is what we're going to call it. To your point about this being Oliver and Company, or similar to Oliver and Company, I totally agree. To be coming out of our second Dark Age into this new era of films, Oliver and Company is a good benchmark for coming out of that first Dark Age and pushing towards the original Renaissance, in seeing everything, like the culmination of everything that was not working and everything that could work, and putting it out there in film. So yeah, very, very good point, Thomas. I support and approve of your opinion. Yeah.
I mean, it's okay, Thomas. Don't get too big of it.
Aaron Williams says,
Tom. Okay, for the record, I feel like Thomas has been listening to this podcast long enough to know that I'm only joking when I say that.
just do what many of us do. Don't take Jeff seriously.
Never take. Yeah. I don't take myself serious.
Aaron Williams says, "Wait, Bolt is a Disney movie?" I don't know if it's just the parts of the movie, or I don't know if I just like parts of this movie, or I just like the parts of the movie with Rhino the hamster. The pigeons are fantastic as well. How many of those characters do you see in Hollywood TC? Oh, okay. Aaron,
that was a personal question to you.
Yeah, personal question to me. Yeah. The pitching the scripts types and a lot of the tropes of Hollywood are definitely seen in this movie. The agents, the jerk extras, Wyatt Tucker says, "Okay, I think I understand the plot of this movie." Oh, okay, he's gonna. I just skimmed this.
We should have read this one.
I just skimmed.
We should have read this one at the beginning of the episode.
Did you read this one already? I just skimmed it.
Yes, okay. I did. I've read this one.
Very funny, Wyatt. I'm going to share this. Here you go. This is Wyatt. Okay. Okay, I think I understand the plot of this movie better now. So Danny Zuko becomes an overnight sensation as a spy on a TV show. He accidentally gets sent out of state and tries to the best he can to return to his owner, Hannah Montana. Along the way, he runs into the New York Goodfeathers, a tomcat, and a fanboy. Unfortunately, Danny Zuko has been replaced by Michael Carrington, the guy from Grease 2, in case nobody caught that. But Hannah Montana knows what's up, and soon after quits her job after her sociopathic agent attempts to exploit her double identity as Miley Stewart and her title Greaser. And her little greaser. Okay, there you go. Bravo, sir.
Now, guys, not going to lie, I'd watch that movie, actually.
He says, unfortunately, I do not own a copy of this movie, but I think I'm on the mark. Right?
That was the exact
Nailed
plot.
it.
Wyatt,
You nailed it, Wyatt. That's
You
perfect.
nailed it.
That's so perfect.
That's why I said I would watch that movie, because I did. Yeah.
And Scarlett Starkey here. Thank you for listening. I'm going to call you Scarstar. Scarstar says, I thought this was a pretty cute movie at the time and still enjoy it now. Bolt's character arc reminds me a lot of Buzz Lightyear's. Yep, okay, there we go. We agree on that. With him realizing what he really is. Love the pigeons. Everyone loves the pigeons, and rightly so.
Everybody loves the pigeons. Mutual agreement by everybody.
Thank you, Scarstar. Did you have any tweets this week, Jeff? Because
I did not in regards to the film. Sorry, I was just trying to get my Twitter account.
That's right.
It's taken forever to open.
I have one and a note I forgot to mention. Okay. No, I mentioned that one. Okay, cool. This is from Dig Hi Ho, one of our. He only ever tweets. Whatever. You do whatever you want, Dig. I'm happy you listen to the show. He says, theory. Is this in the 101 Dalmatians universe? Proof. They watch a show with a dog called Thunderbolt in 101 Dalmatians.
Oh. So is the theory then that I'm sorry, is there more to that?
Well, it's just that never would have crossed my mind, but he's right. In 101 Dalmatians, they're watching that rescue dog show, and it's a superhero dog type character, very Lone Ranger-esque. So would Bolt, the TV series in the movie Bolt, be a reboot franchise version of that original dog series from 100?
Like Sherlock is a modern day imagining of like classic Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. Guys, I think that's a brilliant idea.
I'm going to subscribe to this theory. This is great.
I am okay with that. If Robin Hood is in the Zootopia universe, then this is in the 101 Dalmatians universe. Does this mean we have multiple universes? Then?
Oh, yeah, sir.
Is there multiple Disney universes?
We have at least 3 or 4. Okay. I'm almost sure of it.
That's true. I like that theory. Yeah. I like that.
Thank you, Dave.
I like that.
Yes, thank you.
Dang, I completely missed that.
But that's all the comments and tweets I have this week. Jeff, you have a decision to make. Unless you're going to wait till the last minute like I did.
No, I'm not going to wait till the last second. You know what, honestly, dang nabbit. I am usually very good at when I make my decision for where these movies are ranked, I stick with it. But honestly, yeah, I'd watch this movie over Treasure Planet again.
Man, it's so
and it's
crazy.
not because Treasure Planet's bad.
No, it's not
at all. It's really, it comes down to like that last third of Ben, and I did enjoy this one. I can't believe
it tugs at the heartstrings. It really does manage to. It's total Pixar maneuvers. The expert use of music timed with imagery in Bolt is just the sort of thing that Pixar chemistry that like, okay, I'm just gonna choke up. He saved her. He's gonna die next to her in the smoke. Then he realizes the bark. It's gonna do it.
Like that sequence, and I really did like the montage of them traveling across the country. I'm like, it was the good music, and I liked the graphics, and I liked what they were doing, and I like this movie. Why do I like this movie?
I don't know, and now I'm curious to hear what the listeners have to say about our review and our conversation here.
Everything I know is a lie.
Well, I don't even know it's real anymore. Okay, welcome back.
I don't even know it's real. Yeah, hey, what's up? How you doing? Sorry, was I on mic? Did you hear that?
No.
I thought I hit the mute button.
You're good.
Good. I'm so glad nobody heard that.
No one tell.
Had been embarrassing.
Yeah. What are we watching? What are we watching next week, Jeff?
All right, everybody. Well, next week we are hitting up our number 49 film, the 49th film on this
49.
list that's ever shrinking and ever coming closer to the end. The 2009 traditionally animated film.
2D. Yep. We're back to hand drawn.
Back to 2D. The traditionally animated 2D animated film. I'm going to say animated like 6 more times. The Princess and the Frog.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you seen this?
I have seen The Princess and the Frog. Okay. We're going to hit a little bit of a patch here of ones that I have seen. Now, I've only seen Princess and the Frog, I think, maybe once. Maybe twice. Because this is around the era where I was spending a lot of time with my nieces when they were growing up. And, or at least my oldest niece was... oh no, she wasn't around yet. But I did watch it after she was born. That makes sense. So I watched this maybe a few years ago, or maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Okay. Because I did watch this movie with my nieces.
Well, it's not up on Netflix. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere else.
I could not find it on. It didn't look like it's on Amazon Prime. You can buy it on Amazon Prime. Okay. Almost all of these films are available for rent or purchase on Prime.
I would like to. I really would like to know what people think of this movie now compared to when it came out. So those of you listening who have not seen it since, or maybe not have seen it at all, find this movie and give it a watch, because this is going to lend itself to some very interesting conversation in terms of stylistically, narratively, structurally. There's some fun to be had in just the rewatch of this, and
and that's go. No, I was just gonna say, that's my big thing that I'm looking forward to, because now that we've seen, now that I personally have watched all the other ones leading up to this, and I'm going into this with a fresh set of eyes, also having not seen it in a while, but with a fresh set of eyes, and also looking at it from the perspective of, okay, why did they go back to 2D animation? Yeah. And what did they pull? Because I remember seeing a bunch of little things that I recognized from the Disney movies that I had seen. Yeah. But I'm going into this going, all right, I want to see what they do with this film. Yeah. What are they referencing? What are they pulling from? Does it fit our classic fairy tale stories? Like what we've seen previously. That's what I'm intrigued with.
Well, TBD. We will have lots to say, I'm sure. So that will be hopefully next week, unless we decide to take a week off.
Yes. Well, hopefully not, but in case we do, it happens. You guys know how that works. Yeah. You guys have been around, right? You know us. Well, TC, thanks for coming along with this fun journey that we've been on so far. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody had to think about this week's episode in the comments section. And also, please, when TC makes the post next Monday for the recording of the episode, please be sure to leave your comments, because obviously
you help us.
A good half hour of this is just talking with you guys, and when we enjoyed, I even though TC reads them, I enjoy doing that part too.
I do too, especially because oftentimes we'll start an episode and be like, I don't have a lot of notes, I'm not sure how much we're going to have to say, and then lo and behold, it's an hour and a half later, and we're like, hey, we did it!
It's an hour and a half later. Yep. It's like somehow we're as long as the movie, guys. So we got really good at that. Those early episodes, those were pretty short episodes, and now we're constantly hitting a good 80 to 90 minutes, much like the Disney films.
Yeah, perfect.
It's funny how that works.
Cool. Well, this was fun.
Well, that was a lot of fun, TC. Thank you for coming here, and please do the sign-off.
This has been a podcast. We've been the people you've been listening to, and this is our sign-off.
Wow, wow!
Wow, wow? Really? You want to go out on wow, wow? More like bow wow.
That's not a funny joke. This has been a production of Ghost Hat Media, proud member of the Ghost Hat Network. Find them online at www.ghosthat.net.
I like the ending.